with your intelligence background, should there be an investigation on the leaking of this high-level intelligence opinion that was given to CNN and the New York Times? Is that worthwhile? Is that useful? Should it be something that was not published in those newspapers based on your background?
The leak investigation is always such a hotly contested and charged issue. And you can tell based on whether people think that the person is a, quote, whistleblower or a leaker, right? That's always the way those terms are used is very much whom or what I like and whom and what I don't like. So I think that's a big piece of it. I think that in this case, the thing about leaks, there's leaks that damage sources and methods that can put lives and national security at risks, and there's leaks that are more political in nature. To talk about the damage done to the nuclear facilities, though, this is and relying on classified sources to do it and telling the media and trying to shape a narrative, you are breaking your oath to protect classified information, right? So this isn't, there always are judgment calls about this kind of stuff. Like, is this someone sharing their opinion about whether something's a good idea? I mean, that's generally not something that is a national security risk or classified. But if you're sharing an opinion based on information very clearly that is derived from classified sources, I mean, that is against regulations. You shouldn't be doing it. And no one person in the Defense Intelligence Agency should think that he or she should be trying to shape U.S. foreign policy by using the media as attack dogs against Trump based off of classified sources, right? So that's a long way of saying, yeah, I think they should try to chase down this leak. The person should at a minimum be fired. It's very hard to find leakers, very hard to prove that someone is a leaker. So, we still don't know who gave the Supreme Court the Dobbs decision, right? Just to give you a sense of it, yeah, I can say we should find the leaker, but it's very hard to do.
And that's a good point, because there's only roughly 100 people, and that may be too many, who could have ever leaked that information in the Supreme Court. How many people do you think, and that's of course, the Dobbs decision coming out before the Dobbs decision was released, which thankfully didn't get Brett Kavanaugh assassinated, but did provoke the motive of, until the opinion is published, if you kill a member of the Supreme Court, it's scary, then the opinion doesn't go into effect. And Biden would have had the opportunity, because he controlled the Senate at the time, to replace Brett Kavanaugh and theoretically preserve Roe v. Wade. That was the logic behind why all this was leaked, I believe, in addition to putting pressure on people to change their opinions. Let me ask you this. How many people do you think would have had the ability to know and see this report? In other words, when you conduct an investigation, the first thing you have to figure is how many people had eyes on it, how many people had the ability to contact the New York Times, CNN with a report like this. Is it 100? Is it 1,000? How many people out there do you think would have seen this report to the extent that it is accurate that they have conveyed on that report? Because that tells you how hard it is to track somebody down just based on how many eyeballs are on it.
Yeah, well, it's very tough to know. And remember, there's going to be a lot of different cables coming in and out, damage assessments that are on the classified channels. And so, this is where you get into more of a mosaic theory of, well, how specific was the information and how much of this was someone getting from one report versus another. And obviously I have no access to any of this stuff, so I can't speak to the specificity that was leaked. And that obviously would go toward how easy it would be to catch somebody. If they get very clear details that could only come from a really small, like eyes only sort of report, then it's much more likely you're going to be able to find out who is involved in the leak. The big thing to do is usually you just pull somebody's cell phone records and email stuff.
Yeah.
And then you see them talking to New York Times reporter. Now people get very, depending on who's doing it, and the First Amendment starts to get a lot of attention, and people talk about the right of the public to know, and this stuff can get messy quickly. So, but on this one, to me, it's egregious. And why take this to the press to try to undermine the president in this critical moment where we're seeing the Iranians on the defensive and hoping to bring about? I mean, what is Trump trying to do here? Stop the threat of a nuclear armed Iran? and move the region forward into a more peaceful place.
Yeah, that's a very noble goal. Here's what I would wonder. Are you to the point now where certainly we know Pete Hegseth has been very upset about leaks inside of the Pentagon. And to his credit, and to the credit of everybody involved in this attack, nobody knew. This was close to the vest. Iran seems to have been caught unaware. That certainly this news didn't break until Trump went on social media and said, hey, our planes are now out of Iranian airspace. We've successfully attacked, all those things. Here is one thing I wonder. Do you set up fake news to try to catch the leakers, let them believe that they have some information that you know is inaccurate because and start to give information to try to catch the people that are leaking?
This is an old counterintelligence technique, and if you were to if you put in the system stuff that is untrue but juicy, and it finds its way in, then based on who you gave that to, right? You flush it out the other side and see. Look, I think what's even more important here is just that the administration is able to. I mean, look, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, has been very clear on this. Others have been very clear on this, that they're trying to that they're clear on. This was a massively successful strike, and it has done catastrophic damage to the Iranian nuclear program. And I think it's the most important thing is, one, that is confirmed as true with further analysis, and two, they let the public know that, because we are the final check on these things. Like, we, the American people, should know what was the end result of this, and was it worth the risks that were taken and the involvement here. So I want that transparency from the Trump team. In terms of getting this leaker, I think it's unlikely you'll get him. I think they should try, because you want to prevent these kinds of leaks. And I just think it goes to the mindset of some people who work inside the intelligence agencies, that they're like operating under some higher power, which is just always get Trump, make Trump look bad, whatever that is. And people have gone to prison for this, as we know. People have gone to prison for leaking stuff that really was just meant to make Trump look bad.
On the leaking front, the thing that makes the most sense to me without an intelligence background at all is when you bomb the side of a mountain, it is hard to know how far, and the entryways to the facility are completely obliterated and you cannot get in. It is, I would imagine, hard to assess how far into the interior of the mountain the overall damage goes. So until you have boots on the ground, which Israel claims that they have had the ability to do, to try to assess how you get back inside, I would think also that if Iran starts to unpack that nuclear facility, that would be very visible, and we would be able to go in again and drop additional bombs as needed in the event that we have assessed that we didn't get the full attack success level that we had hoped we were going to be able to. We'll take some of your calls. By the way, Senator Marsha Blackburn is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. It's worth mentioning that there is the desire to get the big, beautiful bill, which has not been much talked about over the past few weeks. It has moved to the back burner, given all the other stories. But Trump's signature legislative goal and achievement is getting closer and closer to fruition. We will talk with Senator Blackburn at the bottom of this hour, what she thinks about the time frame as it pertains to this process. But I want to tell you all about Rapid Radios. I'm up in Michigan right now at News Talk 580 WTCM in Traverse City. The guys who started Rapid Radios are Michiganders. They put in place a business. They knew that there was going to be a demand, because at any point in time, you could have a hurricane, you could have a tornado, you could have power out in your neighborhood. Maybe it's just an awful winter storm and you got a lot of ice on branches, trees coming down, and you want to be able to stay in touch with people. Rapid Radios keep 5 days worth of chargers, and you'll be able to talk to people all over the country. Buck's sister-in-law, during the big hurricane that hit Asheville, people didn't anticipate the damage that would occur in western North Carolina. She was able to continue to use these Rapid Radios, get in touch with Buck's father-in-law. They were able to get the help that they needed when almost all other forms of communication were down. Trust me on this. This is a great opportunity. You can get an incredible offer. All you have to do is go to rapidradios.com, use code radio. You will get the best possible deal. Give your family the opportunity to be able to protect them for the event of casualty, in the event of catastrophe. Also, Hey, maybe you got young kids and you want them to be able to run around outside, but you don't want them having cell phones yet. Every little kid likes to use a walkie-talkie. You can travel. You can use these. We've used these at college football games when it's sometimes difficult to otherwise be able to use cell phone service. Get hooked up right now. You'll be glad that you did. RapidRadios.com, code radio. You'll love them. We have them in the Travis household. That's RapidRadios.com, code radio.